So for 70 years, that's from the lifting of the state prohibition until we changed the cap, there was this 6% alcohol cap on all beer brewed and sold in state. And me, as an emerging craft beer enthusiast, I just was tired of going to Virginia to buy craft beer. I wanted to support my local beer store. I wanted to have a proper IPA at a brew pub. And that was the impetus for me to try to change this law. Little did I know that it would be the start of a career in craft beer. So from 1935 to 2005, North Carolina had this archaic 6% alcohol cap on beer brewed and sold in the state. And the more I heard about it, the more I found out about it, just seemed like it was a matter of inertia. So I started a lobbying organization called Pop the Cap that worked to change the 6% alcohol cap. And after 3 years, really as a volunteer effort with no pretense of starting a brewery, we were successful with lifting that cap from 6 to 15%. So as part of the legislative process, when you go to try to change a law, a lot of times they're going to ask you for the economic impact. And we did our best guess as to what that meant. And we predicted that there'd be maybe 300 jobs created out of it. At the time, maybe 2 dozen breweries, now over 400 breweries, not all because of Pop the Cap, but certainly if that cap were still in place, there wouldn't be 400 breweries. So we were way off with our predictions, and I've never been so happy to be so wrong in my life. I always thought of myself as an entrepreneur in waiting, and I realized that not only did I want to change this law, but I saw an opportunity for building a brewery. 5 years after the lifting of the cap, we opened up Fullsteam. When Fullsteam opened in 2010, it was pretty novel to be a family-friendly brewery and to have food trucks and all those kind of trappings of that first wave of breweries that were public places. We do talk about this as kind of a front porch to Durham, especially because you're coming off of the highway, and it's sometimes the first thing that people see in Durham is the tobacco campus. And it was really through the foresight of the Goodman family that they saw an opportunity to invest in this unusual complex of buildings that has this cigarette manufacturing history and revitalize it into this campus that it is today. It's been kind of like Fullsteam in a way, a build-up over time to create what it is today. Our Boxyard location is really efficient. It's made out of shipping containers and it's pretty tight. It's also communal. Well, ATC is also communal. Both are kind of, interestingly, we're sort of the bottom part of a U shape, a bit of the anchor of both locations. But whereas Boxyard is focused on pizza and it's kind of more of a daytime into like happy hour kind of office environment, here at American Tobacco, we really see it being all hours of the day, from lunch into happy hour, into dinner, and into late night. We'll also have a pilot system. So we're brewing here on site at American Tobacco so that we can keep it interesting with small batch beers. We're not the only brewery to have a love of connecting people to the land and to one another, right? And that's our mission. It's always been our mission. I think our unique niche at Fullsteam is the land part. So we were the first brewery in the South to specialize in buying local ingredients. And you have other breweries saying, this makes sense, we want to do this too. Then you have sustainable industries, from farmer who wants to commit to that, to a maltster, to other breweries and retailers who want to buy these locally grown, locally brewed beers, like true beers of the South. A bit of a side note was that one time this person came up and was like, I've never had a persimmon before, but I had your persimmon beer and I loved it so much that I planted 4 persimmon trees in our backyard. And to me, that's what it's all about. Beer is almost like a side product of that quest to get people connected to the land. It's a vehicle for a larger story about our connection to the land and to one another.